My name is Kiara Rago, and welcome to this year's Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit. If anything, Jackie or Clara, I sent you guys the PowerPoint. Do you mind sharing the screen for me, if possible? Because for some reason I can't share it on my laptop. Um, but
I'll
I
work
would.
on it. I'll work on it
Cool.
now if you start.
Okay, cool. Um, So anyways, again, good morning and welcome to this year's Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit. This session is co-organized by the Pittsburgh Human Rights City Alliance and the steering committee and partners from Casa San Jose, Pittsburgh for CDOC Coalition, the Penn Plaza Support and Action Coalition, and lastly, the Students' Human Rights Task Force. This morning, we will be focusing on building movements for health, human rights, and racial justice in order to further support intersectional movements that work towards strengthening the fight for racial justice and both the culture and discussions of and on human rights. Uh, is it working for you, Claire, by any chance?
I'm sorry, it's still downloading. I'll start it up when it comes up though.
All right, I'll just keep going for now. On the slides, which hopefully we can see in a minute, I offered a slide on MLK. Since MLK Day was just last week, and I just wanted to pay quick homage to him because, as we know, he was a phenomenal leader and human being overall. His work has guided many of us and continues to guide us in our fight for racial and social justice. And as he once said, injustice is a threat to justice everywhere. So through his courage and determination, as well as many others who continue to fight and have done the fight for us, we continue the momentum of the past to provide for a better future for all. Dang, this is a bummer. I don't know how to show my slides. Dang. Well, we got to make do with what we got. And unfortunately, this is what we got. So I'll just keep going. And unfortunately, no one can see the pretty slides I made. But anyways, once again, thank you all again for being here this morning with me. My name is Kiara Rigo, if I didn't say that earlier, and I have the pleasure to be your host and MC, just without the pretty backgrounds, to show you guys. I'm a senior at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm fortunate to be a part of the Students' Human Rights Task Force this year. This was my first time attending the Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit, and I'm excited to be here with you all this morning. I first want to say that I hope you all had a wonderful and safe holiday and a lovely start to the new year because, Happy New Year, it's 2021. Hopefully good new things are coming up. I wish we could all physically be together, but of course, I miss, human interaction as I'm assuming all you do as well. But we got to stay safe, keep your families and our loved ones safe, and, hopefully we hope for the best in the future. As stated earlier, our goal for this session is to aid in providing support for intersectional movement building. In regards to that goal, we will be asking you to tell us which breakout room you'd like to be a part of. I will be introducing the facilitators that have been organized for today's session in a minute, so you can have an idea of which group aligns best with your interests today. Towards the end of our session, we will reconvene to debrief and continue to the conversations that you've all had in your groups. And before I begin with our first presenter, I just want to give a quick announcement. In 2 weeks, we have another event coming up on February 6th. More information will be put in the chat and discussed further. Just wanted to throw that out there. And now I will be introducing Ben Gutso, and I really hope I said your last name correctly. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. But he is a brilliant youth activist and leader from the Future Latinx Youth. And the floor is yours, Ben.
Thank you. And as it was said, my name is Ben Gucho. I am a senior in high school, and I'm also the community organizer for social and civic engagement at Casa San Jose. And today I'm just gonna share a little video that I put together with the members of our group. Unfortunately, not all of them could be here today because of issues with work and just stuff at home. So we created a pre-recorded video for you all to watch. That being said, I am not the best at technology, so I apologize if something is not perfect. And also there's going to be some of the answers are in Spanish. So towards the end, I'm actually just going to pause the video and translate it live because I wasn't really sure how to get all of those kind of closed captions in both Spanish and English. But yeah, so I'm going to share the video, and a few of the members are here today, and we'll be willing to answer any questions at the end, or just send a private chat as well. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you all see? Is this good? Okay. So what is the Future of Latinx Youth, or FLA? It is a youth-led program that I started at Casa San Jose over the summer, and it's grounded in the empowerment of Latinx voices and stories. And this program helps to connect and equip a team of young adults with the necessary tools to dream, design, and develop a plan to make a positive change in society. And while we're all in different places on our journey of social justice, some just beginning now, others many years into it, we all carry the idea that together as a group and as a society, transformative change is not just possible, but very plausible. Each member has a unique story and strength that will help them to make their mark on society. Since we are all in high school, there is also an emphasis on education, which is why FLY aims to create a better future by using the lessons we learn to help others. So often, Latinx voices, especially immigrant ones, are unheard and uncared for. So it is incredibly important that we get our stories and voices out. In FLY, members learn about things like gentrification, colorism, and even how to write a research paper. We've gotten out the vote, partnered with various nonprofits, and most recently, we're asked to take part in this incredible event today. While our group may be young, both in its foundation and in its membership, there is a hope that it will continue to live on. So the first question is, why did you join FLY?
I joined FLY because I wanted to be surrounded by other like-minded youth who recognize the work that needs to be done in our community. I believe that in order to come up with real solutions, you have to collaborate with others so that you can impact as many people as possible.
Decidí unirme a FLY porque los jóvenes latinos enfrentamos muchas luchas y la mayoría de estas luchas que enfrentamos como jóvenes latinos a menudo son ignoradas, por lo que depende de nosotros mismos luchar contra las injusticias que enfrentamos día con día y así crear un futuro mejor para nosotros. Y en FLY tenemos la oportunidad de crear un cambio positivo y un futuro mejor para nosotros y para nuestra comunidad latina.
I joined FLY to make a change if I could in the Latinx community and the community of Pittsburgh itself.
I joined FLY as an opportunity to make friends who are Latino and who also share a similar point of view to the world as I do. With regard to being Latino, I just wanted to surround myself with a community who embraced and loved their culture as much as I love my culture.
I joined FLY because I want to be able to educate those in my community about the oppression that Latino citizens and their families face every day, as well as to lend a helping hand and give support to those who may need it, like my family did when they first moved to the United States.
Me uní a FLY porque me importa los derechos de las demás personas, porque si cumplo mis derechos, las demás personas no se lo van a cumplir. Entonces, me prefiero que las otras personas lo cumplan y yo cumplirlos más adelante, porque lo que me importa a mí es que las demás personas cumplan sus sueños, así como mi familia, si quieren tener sus sueños, quieren tener una casa así de millonaria, yo les ayudaré a cumplirlas, porque para eso estamos, para ayudar a las demás personas, ayudar a las personas necesitadas. Y los que tengan dinero o algo así, que ayuden a cumplir los derechos de las demás personas.
The next question for you all, what does human rights mean to you?
Para mí, los derechos humanos significan normas que reconocen y protegen la dignidad de todos los seres humanos, es decir, de todos nosotros. Y estos derechos moldean la manera en que nosotros vivimos como sociedad y nos relacionamos entre sí. Y también ayudan a moldear la manera en que nos relacionamos con el Estado y las obligaciones que el Estado tiene hacia nosotros. Y también para mí los derechos humanos significan demasiado, porque son derechos esenciales que tenemos todos, sin distinción alguna de nacionalidad, lugar de residencia, sexo, color, religión, idioma o cualquier otra condición.
Having to live without fear, the right of freedom, the right of freedom from discrimination.
For me, human rights is giving the freedoms and respects to everyone, no matter their background, Human rights are things that every person is entitled to just for being alive.
For me, what it means is the freedom a person has to go and do the things they want. So kind of the liberty of doing something without getting stopped by another person.
Human rights to me means having like the freedom to do anything you want, like with your body or anything that would be good to you.
To me, human rights are those that include the right to life, liberty, freedom of speech, freedom of oppression, and many more like this. And these rights should not only apply to 1 or 2 or even 3 certain groups of people, but to the entire population, so that everyone is equal in every way.
Derechos humanos para mí es que todos los humanos, todos estos humanos que viven en esta tierra, los que han muerto, los que según han revivido, todo eso, tienen sus derechos. Su derecho es permanecer en lo bueno, no en lo malo. Y mis derechos, yo no sé cuáles derechos tengo. Yo estoy bien en Estados Unidos, estudio, a veces trabajo para ayudar a mis padres.
Rights means to me is something that not only we as a nation, but we as a world lack. I think that it prevents a lot of individuals from being themselves, as they can often be discriminated, judged, or hated for regarding either their race, their gender, their religion, or their sexual orientation. And it just defeats the purpose of being a human being, because people aren't allowed to be who they want to be or do what they want to do regarding how to express themselves because of the hatred or because of the discrimination that they might face, especially like in detention centers, where thousands of women and children are sent because they're immigrants. And oftentimes immigrant is used as a negative, with a negative connotation. It makes them feel inferior. And oftentimes with human rights, it's usually a marginalized group or a minority that is made to feel inferior, as if they are, because of either their race or their gender, or even with their sexual orientation.
Going off of the last question, why or how is a human rights focus key to our generation's future?
Less discrimination, less violence to people of color, or just in general having a peaceful place that everyone could just live in.
It's important to focus on human rights, especially for our future, even especially for my generation, as my generation to me symbolizes freedom, freedom from hatred, freedom from discrimination. We're very vocal about the issues that's happening around our world, and we're not scared to say it. So I feel like human rights is important to focus on, because there are a lot of individuals who can't express themselves or who can't do what they want to do because of either their race, religion, sexual orientation, gender. And it's important to focus on that because everyone's a human being. Everybody deserves the right to do what they want regardless of what they identify as or any types of things. So it's important to focus on that, because even though Gen Z symbolizes freedom, we want the freedom for everyone.
Focusing and paying attention to the fight for human rights is extremely important for our generation, as well as all future generations, so that we can continue to make our world a better place until those who are oppressed no longer have to fight to be able to exist equally among everyone else.
Many of the problems our generation faces are rooted in prejudices we have towards groups of people that may seem different from us. And because we have an unlimited access to information, we are often desensitized to the violations of the human rights of these groups of people. So working more with this topic will allow us to open the minds of people in our generation so they understand more the importance of giving every individual their deserved rights.
I think we should have less discrimination and racism in order to help the future generation.
Why is human rights a key to our future generation? It's the key because it's something that is very important to the people. We need it because we want to be our own person, not get controlled by a group of superior people. And that's kind of why it's the key.
Un enfoque de derechos humanos para nuestra generación es clave para el futuro porque
And as I said, sorry about, I couldn't get all the captions in, but I'm just going to translate and pause as we go with this. He's saying that the reason why it's the key for our generation is a human rights focus.
el enfoque de los derechos humanos nos ayudará a entender que todos tenemos los mismos derechos y
because all of us together, we have to understand kind of that we have rights and our rights as humans. And
ellos podremos tener en el futuro más igualdad, más libertad, más justicia, más paz y tendremos menos honor.
And for that then to help with the future, to have a more peaceful society, a more just society, where everybody is treated with dignity and equally.
Discriminación y exclusión de algún grupo o algo así. Y esto pues será posible para nuestra generación, pues mediante el enfoque de los derechos humanos, porque
And that would be possible for our generation if we focus on human rights.
Los derechos humanos tienen como objetivo reducir la desigualdad y hacer personas más empoderadas, porque mediante ellos, en el futuro, todo.
Because by focusing on human rights, it is able to uplift and empower different groups of people that may not have been previously before.
Podemos estar más protegidos y seremos más respetados.
So the last and final question is, what would you do to improve human rights?
I feel like by spreading diversity, that it can make things a little bit more better, because a lot of discrimination and a lot of hatred comes from ignorance. And not long ago, it was uncommon for females or Black individuals of being doctors. And it was often frowned upon because it wasn't common, and people felt that because of their gender or because of their skin tone, that they don't have the right or are not qualified enough to be a doctor. And so I feel like by spreading diversity and just bringing awareness regarding human rights issues, because oftentimes the media does not display it. It's either talking about what the Kardashians are doing, or why Bernie Sanders is wearing gloves. Like, that's not important. And I feel like that oftentimes human rights issues are ignored because they're probably not entertaining enough, or they don't bring enough views. So I feel like just spreading diversity and bringing awareness are ways to improve it.
Give source, a lot of education on it, maybe in school being able to educate people, or on the news. People could learn.
What I would do is kind of try to get the word out there by using social media platforms where a lot of people can see it, like get a big group of people to kind of promote it so that we can actually be heard, because with one person, it's kind of not possible. So that's what I would do.
What I would do to improve human rights is like have information on racism and discrimination, and also on human rights, and then put it all together and put all the conflicts of discrimination and racism and just spread the positivity.
In order to strive for a place where human rights for all are the norm, it is critical that we continue to educate and inform our communities about injustices concerning the rights of our citizens, and engage in discussions as well as donate to movements fighting for this change.
Creo que lo que haría para mejorar los derechos humanos sería
I think what I would do to better improve human rights is to
informar y educar acerca de ellos. Para informar y educar, tenemos que tratar de sensibilizar a las personas acerca de los derechos.
To kind of teach and spread education around human rights, and by doing so,
Y para eso debemos dar conocimientos al respecto.
We can create a better understanding and knowing of respect.
Y otra cosa que haría para mejorar los derechos humanos sería también
Another thing I would do to improve human rights is
fomentar el uso de el desarrollo de valores y actitudes que vayan en conjunto
to help establish and develop kind of the meter of human rights and our level of what we do.
los derechos humanos. Y también haría alentar sobre medidas que nos ofrezcan defender estos derechos para que se violen en menos porcentaje o que su violación sea nula.
I would also then offer and try to help the human rights of others who may not have them.
También creo que para mejorar los derechos humanos debemos hacer que las personas conozcan de qué disfrutan y los mecanismos que existen para que se les respeten sus derechos, y esto va relacionado con la
And try to make sure and help other people be able to enjoy life and enjoy kind of having your rights and being yourself.
información que se les dé sobre sus derechos, como lo dije en el principio.
And by just knowing your human rights and knowing what they are, like I said in the beginning.
Educating those who may not understand the importance of this topic is a very big step, because the more people we have that are passionate about it, the more people we'll have working hand in hand with legislators in order to push policies that will positively impact these neglected groups.
So that's the video. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. It was a little difficult to do that. And it was actually my first time kind of using iMovie and making one of those. But I hope you enjoyed, and please, we're here for any questions. I know I saw a few of the members hop in. I think there are at least 4 of us. I know that I saw Hillary and Sophia and Antonio come in. So if there are any questions for us, please feel free to reach out. And if you would like some of the names, we can try to give you some, but also just for privacy and respect and kind of being minors, we tend to try to keep out the names right now. But if people are curious, we can try and talk. But thank you.
Ben, that was really good. The presentation was beautiful, even for your first time. So thank you, Ben, and all the students who were part of that, who like really showed their voice and their power and their unity, and just discussing this important topic. So again, thank you so much. So earlier I mentioned the breakout groups. Before we move into the breakout groups we've organized for today's session, I will briefly introduce the facilitators for each organization that will provide some insight on their work. And as you guys have already done in the chat, you guys already chose most of your groups already, which is great. I'm gonna have like a picture of each presenter and say their name, and they'll have their opportunity to speak and say their piece, and then keep going. And then after that, we'll get started into the breakout rooms. So our first presenter is Monica Ruiz from Casa San Jose, and her topic or her breakout room is going to be on policing and state violence. So the floor is all yours, Monica. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you have my picture there, so that's fine. Thanks, everyone. My name is Monica Ruiz. I'm the executive director of Casa San Jose, and have been a member of this group for several years now. And, started a lot of this work because of a lot of the, state sanctioned violence that has been going on in our communities for such a long time. And, just want to talk a little bit about that, about what we're seeing in the immigrant communities. And most importantly, not failing to recognize that, the things that are happening in the immigrant communities today are an extension of what have been happening in our African-American communities since the beginning of time in this country. And so I think that, I'm really, really excited today to have Ashley Commons from APA join us. We'll be talking a little bit about some of the things that have been happening in the immigrant community. But most importantly, we're going to start also to talk about 2 initiatives, ballot initiatives that APA is really working hard on. And it's one is Breonna's Law, and the other one is the ending of solitary confinement. So it's going to be a great conversation, and I look forward to seeing some of you all there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. And I know that, the group is going to be super exciting. Our next, speaker and organizer is Helen Gerhardt. I unfortunately did not have a picture of Helen. This is not any to discriminate against her by any means. I just couldn't find any given the time frame. But Helen Gerhardt is from the Human Rights City Alliance and will be discussing health and environmental justice. So again, Helen, the floor is all yours.
Yes, so we know that COVID-19, the pandemic, has really highlighted the long-standing cracks in equity. It has revealed, and it is an expression of it, as a consequence of a racialized, capitalistic system, which puts profit at the heart of prioritization of planning. We have seen that our cities as ecologies are dismal failures in terms of actually supporting all of us in an equitable way, since a very small group of people benefit from that capitalistic system. And you can see this injustice as clearly imposed by law and policy in housing, in transit, in healthcare access, in all of the ways in which we organize our basic needs. And here in the city, there have been so many reports about the consequences of that inequity. We see that we have one of the highest infant mortality rates within Black communities, that Black middle-aged women have some of the highest death rates in the world. We have an amazing depth of resources in this country that are being distributed in a way that causes active harm. We zone our cities to put pollution in areas where there are Black communities. We have zoning policies which cause mass displacement into areas of high pollution. There are just so many innumerable examples of the ways that our human ecology deeply disrespects human rights and human needs, and our connections to our larger ecologies upon which we are dependent, we are interdependent. So thank you so much for being here. I look forward to hearing more about all of your work, and see you in the breakout session.
Thank you so much, Helen. And our last speaker and organizer is Mr. Randall Taylor. He's from Penn Plaza Support and Action Coalition, leading two groups on housing and fair resource allocation, budgets, taxation, and as well as federal assistance. So I will give the floor to you, Randall. Thank you. Randall, you're muted.
Some people prefer that, but we're okay. Again, my name is Randall Taylor. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a former resident of the Penn Plaza Apartments. And that mass displacement, I believe, kicked off a historic movement around housing justice in this city. There had always been people working around that issue, but I think the Penn Plaza tragedy, I think, brought a lot of people and sparked a real fire in this city around justice, around housing. And so our journey has taken us to many different places. It also touches on the issue of fair resource allocation, about what some of our budget priorities are in this city. But I think it has crystallized the issue of gentrification, displacement, the destruction of historically African-American communities. And I think that has all come together. But I think the most important part that the movement around housing justice that has taken place in this city, it has reminded us again, and that's why Jacky Smith always, centers those words, human right. And housing is a human right. And it is very difficult for people to do anything, to hold a job, to go to school, to raise a family, if they're stressed by housing, either not knowing if they can make the rent at the end of the month, or not knowing if they'll have a roof over their head at the end of the month. So we also know in this COVID crisis that the issue of housing and housing insecurity has really come, to the forefront. And in our breakout session, we'll get a chance to talk a little bit more in detail about what people are doing now. What are some of the challenges that we're faced with in this city, and also about a future vision of housing and housing policy in the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. And that he's our last organizer. So in a few minutes, you guys are going to be separated into your breakout rooms. Once again, if you haven't already, go just type in the chat really quick which number group you would like to be a part of, so you're put in accordingly. And once again, in your breakout rooms, discuss. If you want, turn on your cameras. It's an open space, a safe space, and enjoy. So I will let whoever has the power of separating breakout rooms take that over.
All right, well, good almost afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone who is here. This session has been really, really encouraging. So basically, I'm Ashley Comans. I'm the programs manager with the Alliance for Police Accountability. And for those of you, if you are not aware, we are right in the middle of a huge petitioning for placing 2 initiatives on the ballot for the upcoming spring primary election, which is, I want to say, May 18th. And so what that looks like is we have a website. So I want to give that out to everyone first, and I can also put it in the chat, is signthatpetition.com. That website will take you to our APA page and give you all of the details about our ballot initiatives. The first one is to virtually ban solitary confinement in the Allegheny County Jail. And the second is specifically for the city of Pittsburgh to pass Breonna's Law, which would ban no-knock warrants. So basically, both issues should, kind of be a no-brainer. Solitary confinement is inhumane. It is something that our county jail uses for just, you get on my nerves, you're going to solitary confinement. And it's just inhumane. So right now we need 30,000 signatures. We are halfway through this petitioning cycle. We have 24 days left to gather the remaining signatures. And we are looking for folks. If you want to get a petition, sign the petition, go out and maybe, I know there are a lot of college students in here. We are employing folks to go out and collect signatures. We have people going out getting 50, 60 signatures a day. It has been a really robust campaign, and we're excited. It is really a matter of showing the power of the people, because it's the people who are gathering the signatures, putting their signatures down on paper, and then putting it on the ballot to tell our local elected officials, this is what we want. So I really want to make sure that you all get the information, spread the information, sign that petition.com, and this May, we can and will see both of these ballot initiatives on our ballots. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat. And I know that we will have information that will be shared to everyone participating today. So thank you so much.
Just a quick little thing. If I'm not sure if anyone's seen the chat yet, but if you could, please send your emails and all your information that you would like us to have, so we can keep you updated on the event that's coming up in 2 weeks on February 6th, because time is running. We have some time crunch, and everything that Ashley has mentioned. So, it's very important work, and we want that to happen, to have the momentum it needs. The links have been sent, but yes, again, just send your emails in, your, social media, whatever you'd like us to have. And we really appreciate it. But yeah.
And I just saw something in the chat with the link. So the APA website, that signthatpetition.com link will take you directly to the page with both Breonna's law and the Stop Solitary Confinement. And signthatpetition.com is ultimately just to be an easier way of sharing how can I get more information. Of course, tell folks to go to apa-pgh.org. It's just instant, communication, making sure everyone doesn't forget, it's catchy. So that's that link will take you to the same page. You can only sign in person. It would be so great if we could do this electronically, but there were no changes in our, laws to get our petition signed.
So while we have some time left and while you guys are still writing and things like that, if we want, we can get started on some targeted questions. So you can answer either one of these. It's the first one, as you can see, is how can we better integrate youth leadership in this area? And then what's next? What can we do to, help improve the movement and progress it even further? Ashley, as you know, she mentioned, signing petitions. So that's a really good start, and, what we could do to help. And are these steps that occur short-term, long-term, or possibly, on both scales? So you could have some time to think about that, or you could shoot it in the chat or say it out loud. It doesn't have to be these questions, it's whatever you'd like to talk about. We would love to hear your voices and what you guys have, been a part of this far during this session.
Can I quickly break in?
Yeah, of course.
I thought I had the power to save our chat in our breakout rooms, and it turns out that I didn't. So I have created a Google document. There's a link in the chat for those who were in the breakout room on environmental justice and health. Please feel free to go to that Google document and share your information there. And my apologies.
That is much more concise, just in case any information gets lost. So we're already, putting some information from the emails we have here, but just in case everyone, yes, please use that Google Doc, because that would make it easier for all of us to make sure we have all your information, and also just in case any misspellings that occur through the chat. But yeah, thank you so much, Helen.
May I jump in for a second? This is Ronnie. I just want to give a shout out to Ashley, because I have been working with APA and getting congregational involvement on these petitions. So I want to share 3 quick things. Number 1, this effort is being spearheaded by young people of color. That's number 2. I think that says volumes. Number 2, this is a concrete action to address systemic abuses coming out of all the demonstrations of 2020. Number 3, it's a sprint, so we need to get involved now and then continue to do all the other things we've talked about and have been working on. And I just want to urge everybody to get involved. On the website, you can put in your address or your zip code and see stations that are near you. Most of them are outside. It's safe. All you need to go and sign your name and bring 2 or 3 friends. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. This is a group effort. I think that is also, as this work is hard, when you see how many people have come together to make this happen, the way the signatures are being gathered. I mean, on MLK Day, we had one organization collect 600 signatures, and that was just one. So yes, and young people are the driving factor. This would not happen if we did not have folks on the ground with energy, with the passion, to just let folks know, because people have a lot of things on their plate right now. Life is hard. Everyone has something that they are struggling with in one way or another. And so when you get a chance to kind of connect with someone and tell them that this is something that helps all of us, it is just It's why we do this work. It's why we are here today in this space connecting with each other, because we want to change things systemically. We don't want a Band-Aid. We're tired of Band-Aids. If they don't do anything and we keep coming back trying to fix something else. No, we need concrete changes. And so these are the steps that we can take together as people who just want to live a good life, you know, like no one deserves to be treated in that way, even if they have made a mistake. So yes, thank you.
Also, I'd like to add that just as Ashley has, if any of you who are still a part of this session at the moment have any other, you know, organizations or causes that you would love to just promote as Ashley has done for us today, please feel free to. This is the opportunity. You're in like a summit about human rights and racial justice and all the good things that we could do to change and improve. So again, like since Helen created that Google Doc and you have the chat here, just shoot, you know, an email or throw it in the doc or in the chat about anything that you're passionate about, anything you've been working on, any campaigns that, you know, relate to this. And then again, you can still meet us again in 2 weeks on February 6th, where we're having another meeting to just keep building off of this, because this is a movement, not a moment. And that's really, really important to understand. And so if we can, you know, keep this energy and the momentum, it would be really, really phenomenal. That's like the piece I have for that part. But anyone else can please feel free.
Hi, everybody. I just added a link to the chat. So as Kiara mentioned, February 6th, we have this follow-up meeting. But in the meantime, starting tomorrow, the Human Rights City Alliance and the Pitt Human Rights Student Working Group, we're hosting this film screening of this documentary called Push, and it relates to housing issues sort of on like a global scale and what we're seeing with the financialization and sort of how people can fight back against that. So the link that I shared, if you fill that out, you'll get a link to view this film for free. And then February 1st at 7 p.m., there'll be a webinar with different activists from Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and New York City to talk about the film and sort of what their organizers on the ground are doing, like related to housing justice issues. So yeah, if you fill out that link, you can watch it anytime within the next 2 weeks. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Someone asked really quick, I'm not sure what time the event was on the 6th, and it is from 11 a.m. to 12:30. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that. But just in case anyone was wondering, if you want to, you know, add it to your calendars, that would be phenomenal. So yeah, that's just to answer that person's question. There's also, if you guys would like, there's the Human Rights Alliance City, like you can find us online. So that's also where we have a bunch of calendars and information, just in case a lot of you haven't been able, you know, there's a lot of things happening in the chat right now, so it's hard to keep up. So I'll just throw that in there really quickly for anyone. If they weren't able to send their information, or if they don't feel comfortable with sending their information on like a, you know, group chat, we totally understand. So I'll offer that as well.
So folks, I'll jump in, and Kiara, thank you for all your work to facilitate our group today, and for everybody taking time to choose our session and our movement building process. And my name's Jacky Smith, and I help organize the Human Rights City Alliance, which really is about trying to help bring our movements together around the idea that that all of our issues really are about human rights and empowering folks who are often denied basic rights, or whose rights are neglected in public policy and conversations, and as our group talked about, in budgeting, and figure out how we can build power by bringing in our movements together and centering the claims around human rights. And so that's what Human Rights Cities movement is about, and it's a worldwide movement that we are part of, and it's pretty exciting to hear. And our film screening with of Push around housing is an example of this, because we're working with folks in Atlanta and New York to help have a conversation about how we can fight across our cities around housing justice and housing as a human right. So that's what the human rights movement is about, and the Human Rights Cities movement. And that's kind of what our platform is about, trying to be a space to bring movements together. And that's why we like to be at the Racial Justice Summit, but really to invite people to stay involved, because it's going to be long, hard work. And so I hope you'll reach out through our website and the email that we shared in the chat, pghrights@riseup.net. And we'll be following up, as Kiara said. But I'm gonna stop and shut up and turn it back over to Kiara, as I think we need to close, yes, imminently.
Oh, okay. No worries. So since, our time is ending here, and as Jacky said, we have a lot of work to do, and it's important. And I really do appreciate, we all really appreciate you guys coming here and listening to us, and, giving people the space to have these conversations. So I hope that, again, you enjoyed this morning session / afternoon session. And I have a last slide, but this last slide basically talks about history has its eyes on us. And I chose that because history repeats itself, and that's a no-brainer. Please don't, I'm sorry about my dog in the background, but history does repeat itself, and we have the opportunity to make large steps to change, because as time and time again, it is proven that what we do is incredibly powerful. The power is in the people. And I hope based on today's session and the rest of the sessions in this event, if you have the opportunity to go to them, this stays with you. And I just hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you continue to stay safe during this pandemic that we're in. And hopefully we'll see many of you at next week in the event in 2 weeks, and our further events and conversations that are occurring. But overall, thank you so much.
Thank you all. So good to see you all and hear about your work.
Yes,
Thank you
thanks
so much.
everyone.